Hello everyone and welcome to my micro bakery. This week I thought I'd show you kind of all the things I do during the week to prepare for my weekly farm stand. And my farm stand is every Sunday, so I usually have pre-orders open throughout the week, and then I bake everything on Saturday and I put everything out Sunday for the farm stand, and so all the pre-orders get picked up on Sundays and then people can come stop by the farm stand and pick up any extras. So on this day, it was a Sunday, and I was actually closed for my farm stand that week. I just needed a little break. So I was just cleaning up the kitchen, doing a little deep clean on everything, because I will be starting my dry ingredient prep on Monday, the day after this. And, obviously you clean along the way, but it's just nice to do a deep clean before doing that. That way, everything's set. Alright, so we moved on to Monday. This was Monday morning before I started work. I had prepped these mini pumpkin sourdough loaves, and I just needed to bake them to see how they came out, and also I need to photograph them for my website because fall flavors come out, and I'm so excited. But I mentioned in my last video that I wanted to try mini loaves just to see how they'll sell. Also, pumpkin loaves are kind of hard to do because the pumpkin puree just makes the loaf really dense, and so it just takes a lot of extra work, and also the ingredients are very expensive. So I figured mini loaves would be the best way to go for this. And spoiler alert, they came out absolutely perfect. Look at how they baked in the oven. I used the double pan method as always. They turned out perfect. They had a beautiful rise. I don't know why making them mini made them better than a large loaf. I have no idea. But these came out absolutely perfect. I took pictures of them for my website and they will be up next week. I'm so excited, they're perfect. And later that night I started printing all of my labels. I was just in bed laying down while doing this because the next day I was gonna get all of my packaging ready. And this is one of the most important parts about owning a micro bakery, the labels, if you know. Alright, so we moved on to Tuesday. This was Tuesday morning around 4:30 a.m. I know, super early, but I had to wake up that early to start all of this labeling. It takes a very long time. It's super tedious, and I also wanted to get to the gym before work, so that's why I had to wake up so early. But I like to get the packaging done early in the week because if I run out of any of the labels or anything like that, any bags, I can do a quick order on Amazon and have them get in before the weekend. So that's why I like to prep everything early in the week. Alright, and this is still Tuesday. After work I came back and I started prepping my dry ingredients. This is a short clip because I realized I didn't have enough ingredients, so I had to go to Sam's Club and get more, but that's why I do this early in the week again, so I can figure out everything I'm missing and I don't overbuy at the grocery store. And then I just finished up whatever I left off from the morning. I was just packaging my muffins in this. These take forever because the boxes you have to set up. It's super tedious. But this is my last week with the muffins because our menu is changing for fall, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of happy about this. I'm sure we all have one product that we kind of hate making, but they taste so good, it's just a lot of work. Alright, and this is right before I go to bed on Tuesday. I was just writing down the ingredients I needed from Sam's Club so I can place an order and get everything. I also keep my recipe book open while I do this so I can make sure I'm not missing anything at all. Okay, this is the next day. I finally get to finish prepping my dry ingredients. You guys, I have no idea what my shirt is doing in this clip. I was so tired and ready for bed. I was in my pajamas. I'm like, I need to get this done. But no matter how tired I am, I will never skip prepping dry ingredients. It makes the biggest difference in my micro bakery. It saves me so much time, so many mistakes. It's really worth it. All right, and I'm kind of losing track of my days. I think this was Tuesday. I went through all of my Amazon packages and I got these free gloves from a company. I'm so excited to use them. And somehow we made it to dough day, which is Friday, so maybe I got my days mixed up. I swear all of my days start to blend into one at some point, so sorry about that. But here I just have my loaves. Looks like I'm doing the final shape at this point. These look like my classic loaves, yep. And so I just kind of fold it over like a book, and then I roll it like a cinnamon roll, and we drop it right into those bannetons. Now you'll see I have like a mesh thing over my bannetons. This is because the cloth that you see under that picks up a lot of lint like every time I wash it, and it's just like I can't get all of it out. I'll sit there with a lint brush and it just picks up everything. So that's the reason I put the mesh over it. I still wash the cloths each time, but it just makes my life easier. Also, I'm deathly afraid of anything getting into my bread, like a piece of lint or something. I don't know, that's like my biggest fear. I actually have nightmares about it. I'll like wake up thinking there was a hair in my food. But anyways, so now we're just kind of rolling it into a ball shape. And you'll see I flip it over, clasp the ends, and then drop it right into the banneton. Once the loaves are all set, I cover it with a shower cup. This is because these will go into the refrigerator overnight for a cold proof. And if you don't cover them, they'll get kind of all crusty and stuff. So this just helps keep the moisture in while they're doing the cold proof. Now we're on to shaping our next batch of dough. I do 4 batches, 4 in each box. This is just easier for me and it helps me with my brain keep everything organized, like all the ingredients. I don't know, I just like to do it this way. I know a lot of people prep it all like within one bucket, like 15 at a time or 10. I just can't do that. But look how jiggly this is. I always separate them out and make sure they are the proper weight. All of my loaves are 840 grams each. And this is pretty strict because on the labels that I use, you have to say how many grams each product is, so I have to stick to that. That's why I weigh every single thing out. Now we're on to prepping the dough for my New York style bagels. These are so good. It took me a year to figure out this recipe. So many errors, so many trial and errors, but it's worth it. I'm so proud of these bagels. You can see I'm doing the same process, weighing each one out individually. Mine are 150 grams each. I then clasp the ends on both ends to kind of make it tight. I roll it into a ball and then they form into these perfect little shapes. I make 16 bagels, 6 plain and 6 everything. I do want to make more, it's just a very tedious process. Bagels are probably the most stressful for me just because there's so many different steps. You have to prep the dough, then boil it, then add the seasoning, bake them. There's just a lot of different steps. So that's why I stick to 16. That's what I can handle right now. Again, I would love to make more, but I really don't want to risk the quality of my bagels. And we made it to bake day. I prepped my loaves first. I always start off with my loaves because those take the longest to kind of cool off and everything. I believe these were my honey oat loaves. I always drop them into a parchment paper and then I put it into my pan. I use the double pan method. I'm sure you guys know if you watch my videos. But yeah, this is the best process for me that I find. I score each loaf once it's in the pan. I tie it with a rubber band with the second loaf pan over it, and then I drop it right into the oven. Please don't mind my face every time I open the oven. It's like a whiff of moist, hot air burning my face. So that's why I look crazy every time I open the oven. But I did mention those gloves that I got from a company called Lannon at the beginning of the video. I used them for bake day. You guys, they were amazing. My other gloves were from Amazon. They were super cheap, like silicone gloves. These are also silicone, but I don't know what the difference is. Clearly they use different materials, but these work so much better. My other ones would still like burn my hands every time I touched it. So I'm just really happy with them. This is halfway through my bake. I take out the loaf pans and I remove the lid. Then they go back in without the lid for 15 minutes to brown the tops. And the reason I cook with the lid on at first is to keep that steam trapped in there. That's what helps this bread rise, and look how beautiful and tall it looks. We made it to our bagels. As I said, this is a process. So you see, I drop them into boiling water. I boil for a minute on each side. And this is the best trick I've learned, is to use parchment paper to drop them in there, because if you use your hands, the shape gets all messed up. It will stick to your hands. So this is the best way I've learned, and it really hasn't failed me so far. So if you do make bagels, I would suggest doing that. You can see they turn a really beautiful brown color. This is because I use barley malt syrup in the water. And as I said before, these are New York style bagels, and that is the traditional way of boiling them. I add some everything bagel seasoning. You guys, what's your favorite everything bagel seasoning? Because mine is from Trader Joe's. This is the only brand I get. I use my little pizza thing to put it in the oven. You'll see I have a hot steel on there. This helps brown the bottom really well without burning them. If not, I notice that the bottom doesn't really cook well. And this is how beautiful they look when they come out. They're huge. They look just like New York style bagels. And yeah, I always temp them to make sure they're the right temperature. It's always around 205 to 210 degrees. Since they are so big, I always like to make sure. And this is farm stand day. I'm just bringing out all of my products to the stand. I use this little basket that I thrifted, and these are all the pre-orders. I put it on a little table. I have my banner and then my beautiful farm stand with everything set up. We also had muffins, English muffins, and cookies. I didn't get a chance to record me baking it because I had a crazy bake day, but everything turned out beautiful and I'm so happy. Thanks for watching. Bye!